Look, his mom was probably at the grocery store next door, and he just got done with swimming lessons, and he said something like, "Mother, I would be most grateful if you let me consume a pastry with high levels of sugar and simple carbohydrates."
No, it's 10 a.m. Just let me know if I should put my music lower, higher, whatever. I don't care. Okay. Note to self: do not do that trick when I have high speed, because it's not worth it. Also, I'm gonna try to be reading chats for most of it, which is gonna be also pretty tricky, because driving and reading does not go at the same time. Just like in real life. Don't text and drive, or drink and drive. So that's decent, and then here we just full speed it. But now that we're actually doing things, note that for during the stream, there's a link in the description for donations and media share. If you want, you can donate something, and then you can also have a video playing on stream and either rickroll or troll the shit out of everyone. It's all up to you. And also, at
This wall tastes like dirt!
You're counting down the seconds until you can skip the ad, right? I get it. But what if you never had to watch an ad again?
Culligan knows hardness and chlorine in your home's water are drying out your hair and leaving your skin itchy.
A lot of people used to do that. I stink. Hey everyone, so if you have not seen my Twitter yet, I have made an aesthetic version of the starter house. It looks absolutely amazing. If you go in, everything is just white, as aesthetic usually is. I'm not saying every aesthetic builder is like that, but anyways, in today's video, we're gonna take a look at some things we used to do before they updated, and boy, some of them are so embarrassing, but most of us did them when we were building, so let's get right into the video. And if you're wondering how I suddenly became a millionaire after 2 seconds of doing a video, that's because I emptied a plot, I bulldozed it, so no further questions asked. So the first thing that we used to do, or a lot of us used to do, is actually when we wanted to create roofs, let's say we have this as a house, we wanted a modern house or something, and then we wanted to have a flat roof. Now before the roofing update, before you could actually drag out your roofs, we used to place tables on the roof, and I don't know, it looked good, but it also didn't, and a lot of us now regret doing that. So it basically looked like this, and we just had to fill up the entire roof with tables, and if we wanted a skylight in the middle, we had to use glass tables. So it ended up looking something like this, and then in the middle we usually put like glass tables. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I assure you that a lot of people did that. Now I just need to find the glass table that I need. There we go, I think it's that one. And that was our skylight. Of course we had to remove the floor and do that one again. And then to finish off this monstrosity, what we did was go into fences. We took the half wall, or the quarter fence at least, and we did that, and we filled that up all the way to the edges. And then of course, where the skylight is, you wanted to hide that area as well, so you did a little fence in there as well. Going inside of that build, this is what it looked like from the inside. So you had your skylight. It actually doesn't look bad, as I said. It was just a nice trick to have like a raised roof with skylights inside them, especially for modern houses. It definitely looked nice. Now what we can do now, of course, is go into roofs, take the flat roof, and we can just drag it up as much as we want, and that's how easy you can make that roof now. Gosh, the struggle was real back then. Another thing that we used to do, but that is from way back when advanced placing wasn't a thing, ceiling lights weren't a thing either. A lot of us, and I don't know how many are left from the really old players. I feel like I'm alone sometimes. But before ceiling lights were a thing, we actually used to take these garden lights. I think, yeah, it was that one. I think it was that one, because we didn't have a lot of lights. Now before that, we used to actually hide lights everywhere we could, so behind the couches, so that you at least had some light in your house, because you could not have ceiling lights, and the only way to really get lights into your house was by placing floor lamps. So we just hid them everywhere, and it looked hideous. I'm so glad we got ceiling lights. Then this is a really time-consuming one. So before we had cabinets, before we had cabinets, for some weird reason my mind was like, wait, we always had cabinets, but we didn't. So cabinets are really easy. You can open and close them if you walk up to them. They are super convenient to use. You can store stuff inside it. That's amazing. Now before we had cabinets, what a lot of players did was actually go into the storage and then take this oak shelf and then put your placement grid on small advanced placing on, so you needed advanced placing for it. And then what they did was take this and just layer it on top of each other like that. That was really expensive to make a kitchen, and that were our pre-made counters. That was what counters looked like back in the day. It's really expensive to make this. I don't know how much I spent, but each one of these is $40 to place, so you can imagine the cost. And now we have these, and oh my god, godlike. Sometimes we don't appreciate the things we have. Then going back to the modern house that we created, what we used to do as well, before we had any wall trims or
all day long, son.
Okay. Start small.
Hello everybody, it's Lion from lionbricks.com. Welcome to Building a Lego City. In this series I'll be showing you the process of
Every thunderstorm begins with a single raindrop, but trillions can follow and all that water rushes downhill. The early makings of a disaster. And it doesn't need to be raining where you are. A street like this in a valley can funnel the water, creating a dangerous setup for a flash flood. Heavy rainfall is the main ingredient in flash flooding. Other factors include building in a flood zone, improper drainage, and ground that's just too wet and can't absorb any more water. And this happens fast. Now look at the street. The water is business to business here, wall to wall. Whoa, what's this guy doing? And this water is about 6 inches now, and it's enough to stall vehicles and even float vehicles in some cases. You're gonna lose control, and you don't wanna be this guy. So if you come to a street that's flooded, turn around, don't drown. More than half of the deaths from flooding each year occur in vehicles. And the water's still rising here. In fact, it's enough to float pretty much anything away that's not bolted down. At 2 feet, it's gonna carry away even cars like this. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is an SUV, and the water is high enough now to carry SUVs and pickup trucks. And this water is well inside these businesses, and this is scary. This is bad. That's not good to see something like that. We're talking some immense destruction with the force of this water. It can carry debris for miles, entire trees. In fact, water flowing at just 10 miles an hour can produce the same force as winds blowing at 300 miles an hour. Look at this. This is a huge log coming down the road, and so scary. You never know it's even in the water, but you can see some of the larger objects, including a truck right here. Absolutely life-threatening situations that come with flash flooding. And unfortunately, more heavy rain events are occurring due to our warming climate. So you are more likely to be caught in this situation. If you ever do get stuck in a flash flood,
I was given a second chance on life. I was given a second chance on life.
Marijuana grew everywhere there, and I grabbed some and fed it to a cow. Just thought I should share. The next day, the cow found the whole marijuana bush and ate the whole thing. That milk and those babies are gonna be crazy. Bruh, my milk tastes like colors.
Almost all cross-testing to kill or pacify SCP-682 had failed miserably. If you haven't seen it, go watch our video on the legendary hard-to-kill reptile to see just how powerful and terrifying this creature is. It faced the Gate Guardian, an SCP with a flaming sword hotter than the sun, capable of tearing your atoms to shreds, and came out fine. In its face-off with the horrifying SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy, it broke the Shy Guy's mind and reduced it to gibbering despair. Even SCPs with supposedly unlimited powers simply refused to engage the beast in combat. So, when it was proposed that they test 682 with SCP-999, a creature known among Foundation staff as the Tickle Monster, The idea was considered laughable. 682 had been burned, suffocated, cut up, incinerated, and growled in the faces of the gods. How could this so-called tickle monster ever hope to survive an encounter, let alone win a fight? Some even believe that this was the last we'd see of SCP-999. But what makes this story truly remarkable is that that isn't how this played out. As you'll soon discover, SCP-999 is an amazing and unique SCP in and of itself. But its secret origins and its interactions with some other prominent figures in the SCP universe are what make this humble, slimy creature beyond extraordinary. Prepare yourself for the heartwarming, yes, you heard that right, the heartwarming story of SCP-999. Several highly trained agents on 682 Detail placed 999 into the immortal lizard cell. Compared to the giant reptilian sitting across from it, 999 wasn't much to look at. It's a large orange amorphous blob of anomalous slime. Weighing in at around 120 pounds, SCP-999 was nothing compared to the monstrosity it was supposed to face. While its weight has in the past caused minor injuries to some of its human handlers, it has never caused serious or long-lasting damage of any kind to a living thing. Even its diet consists only of candy and sweets, with a particular preference for M&Ms and Necco wafers. It consumes these treats through the cell membrane of its slimy body, much like an amoeba. This extremely stretchy membrane means the creature is highly malleable, including the ability to stretch and flatten itself out to a mere 2 centimeters thick. At rest, the creature takes a dome-like shape around 2 meters wide and 1 meter in height. The closest things the creature has to limbs are prehensile pseudopods. Those are the arm-like projections normally seen on single-celled organisms, of which it has at least 3. The more you hear about this utterly harmless creature, the more that matching it up with the pure embodiment of absolute hatred known as SCP-682 feels downright cruel. In absolute contrast to the misanthropic attitudes of the reptile, 999 loves humans. It has a playful dog-like attitude. Much like an overexcited puppy when approached, 999 will react with extreme joy and slither towards the nearest person in order to interact. It will leap onto them, using 2 of its 3 prehensile pseudopods to hug the person, while the third nuzzles the person's face, emitting high-pitched cooing and gurgling noises throughout. The creature is apparently pleasant in every conceivable fashion, as even its odor has been reported to smell just like the favorite scent of whoever is smelling it. Examples have included chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh. It's almost impossible to oversell just how beloved and benevolent this strange creature is. It's one of the rare sapient SCPs to earn the Safe class, and it's allowed to roam freely around its facility at all times, apart from a 1-hour bedtime period between 8 and 9 p.m. In the rare instances that 999 has caused harm to a worker at the facility, it immediately began to back away and contract its body while whimpering in a kind of dog-like apology. The closest the Foundation has ever come to having a real incident with the creature was the time someone accidentally fed it a can of caffeinated cola, causing it to become hyper for an hour before becoming visibly queasy. You'll be relieved to know that it's since made a full recovery. But what would happen when this whimsical creature is forced to go toe-to-toe with the Foundation's most ill-tempered monster? The employees observing the test watched in suspense as 999 began to enthusiastically slither towards 682. It's no surprise that after being tortured and almost killed hundreds of times during testing, 682 had grown jaded to the cross tests it was regularly subjected to. When it saw this strange orange blob squelching across the ground towards it, it sighed and groaned, expecting the worst. "What is that?" the creature asked of its gelatinous guest. SCP-999 began jumping up and down in front of 682 like an excited puppy, creating a high-pitched squealing noise. Just as it regarded all living things, 682 thought the creature bouncing around before it was disgusting and hardly worth the effort to destroy. Was the Foundation even trying anymore? With a single vicious stomp, 682 flattened the friendly creature beneath one of its feet. Observers were prepared to charge in and liberate 999 from under 682's claws. But then something truly unexpected happened. The expression on 682's acid-eaten face began to slowly change. It was beginning to smile. Observers recorded a noise what they thought could have been a chuckle, as the creature growled and said, "What is this? I feel good." While the observers looked on, stunned at what was happening, 999 began to slither and crawl up from between 682's toes. It reformed on its scaly leg and slithered up along its side until it reached the neck. There it began to nuzzle like it had never nuzzled before. The results spoke for themselves. 682 was grinning and chuckling, repeating a phrase that the Foundation never would have imagined coming from 682.
Feel so happy. 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 Happy.
Just when you thought SCP-999 couldn't possibly be more adorable, you learn about its greatest power, bringing joy. Anyone and anything that comes into contact with the creature, even in passing, will experience a kind of mild euphoria. As one's contact with the creature is prolonged, this overwhelming sense of joy increases and continues long after you've separated from it. Prolonged contact has completely cured depression, anxiety, and PTSD, along with a number of other conditions, including rage and antisocial personality disorders. Serial killers practically become saints after coming into prolonged contact with 999, and in that moment, 682 was no exception. And there truly does not appear to be no exceptions. While causing happiness and joy isn't a dangerous weapon, when it comes to SCP-999, it is an extremely powerful one. And what's more, SCP-999 also appears to have an innate sense for those who need its help most, with a particular affection for the hurt and the unhappy. The creature appears to be a true altruist on a fundamental level, even risking its own safety to help humans during dangerous containment breaches. In one dramatic instance, 999 leaped into the air to block a bullet from making contact with a member of staff. As a result, the creature is pretty much universally loved by all members of Foundation staff. It's the one SCP who has never made trouble for anyone. Back in SCP-682's containment cell, the beast was still smiling and laughing as 999 rubbed
So is this going to be the episode where I use absolutely no roundabouts to fix traffic? What do you think? Well, let's dive in and find out. Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the next City Fix with me, Biffa. Thank you very much for joining me. We are here in the city of Smyrna.